Hello everyone, how is it going? Gonna wait here momentarily while people funnel in. Gonna wait here. Let me get the YouTube chat up here. How's it going, Mr. Green C89? What's up? Let's move this stuff around here. Decided to start a little bit earlier than usual, just to see if it gets more people or not. There's so many people, I really don't know. Thank you, Sam. Hello, Ben. All right. We're going to get started here very shortly. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you about my morning. I have two daughters. One is 9 years old, my oldest. Her name's Natalie. And my wife, she's a registered nurse. She works two days a week. That's it. And Fridays is one of the days that she works. And you know, my daughter has this betta fish, and we told her, if we're going to buy this betta fish for you, and this is about 6 months ago we bought it, then you need to feed it yourself because we don't want to deal with that. Well, eventually she wasn't feeding it, we noticed, and so we started taking it over. Well, this morning I decided to say, hey, feed your betta fish. And she says, no. So I said, all right, well then I'm not feeding it and it's going to die. So she starts crying, right? This joys of being a parent, I'm telling you. And she said, fine, I'll feed it, but I'm only feeding her the fish one flake or the entire bottle. See, it's like a power struggle. So frustrating. Then she's screwing around with the bottle while she's telling me this, and it just spills all over the counter. I freak out. We leave. The betta fish has not been fed. So she likes going to Dunkin' Donuts on the morning that her mom works, and she likes eating inside. So we didn't eat inside. We went through the drive-through today. So I showed her. But ultimately, if she doesn't feed her betta fish, then it's gonna die. So that's up to her. All right. Enough rambling about my parenting woes, and let's get started. So this, as usual, here is a live design review, and we basically, I take a look at your design submissions that you submit here, and I help you. I critique it live on air. All right, so how do you submit? In the YouTube description, here in the description here, you click on the Discord link. It's a free chat application. This is it right here. And you join up. It's going to have you, you have to designate a role here first before you can participate. So based on what you are, you choose one of these as a reaction, one of these buttons down here if you're a full stack or whatever. Then you cut over to feedback, and then you submit your submission here. Very, very simple stuff. Okay, so let's get started. All right, I don't have any help today, so I'm going to be doing the reviews here myself, figuring out who's first. So I think we're going to go with IamRand.re here. So let's check out. This is an Adobe XD prototype. Oh, and by the way, if you do want to get thrust to the very beginning of the the queue here, because I take them in order, then you can submit a super chat right here. You enter a dollar amount, mention your Discord username, hit buy and send, and then we're ready to rock. You'll get thrust to you'll become the next review that I do. All right, and also it helps out a lot with the margarita fund. So, Fridays are my girly margarita nights. All right, so let's get started. The very first one, like I said, is from IamAnd.re. If that's a name, I'm sorry. Okay, let's move this over so we can see the chat. Hello, Douglas. Okay. All right, so we have a couple issues right off the bat. First, the quality of this logo. It looks like it's not vector, so that's a major issue. Let me drag it to you. You're definitely going to want to clean that up. Plus, the color combination with this brownish here and this, I'm not too much of a fan. The placement kind of just being in the center like this seems kind of wonky, if you will. Yeah, so I would probably left align that if anything. Also, this right here, the hero section where it says powering the future with that thin font in this background, which is highly contrasting. It's hard to read this type, so that's something you would definitely want to fix as well. And the call to action button doesn't really stand out either. If you really want it to stand out, make it a solid white and then make your text black or something on top. This section is a little bit better. At this viewport right here, it's a little bit large, although it's not responsive because it's an XD prototype, but that's okay. But this is a lot better, though, at least compared to this stuff at the top right here in terms of design. This is pretty good here. You can't really see these things, though, because of the lack of contrast to the image. This is a little bit strange because you have these three that are designed in a certain manner. Maybe this is supposed to be a hover, like when you hover over it, that's what's supposed to show up. Either way, this being centered and then this text being left aligned is like a no-no, so don't do that. I would left align this if this is going to be left aligned as well, because it throws off the flow of the type. So yeah, hopefully you can take from that, some improvements based on what I mentioned. Thank you for the submission. Let's go on here to Sir Exotic. And yes, this is a submission that he submitted, I don't know, a few weeks ago. And it was I think it was a Figma prototype or an XD prototype at this point, but this he got it into HTML and CSS. So it looks pretty good here. Yeah, just the fact that it's in HTML, CSS is a lot better. I'm not going to sit here and review it because I already did that last time. But yeah, very cool. You'd think these would be like links though, or with like a cursor pointer, but that's okay. Yeah, awesome stuff. I wonder if it's responsive. Let's check that out. Oh yeah, I forgot about the rating. 1 second. Yeah. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, very solid. Now, we already dealt with a rating with this one from the previous week, but let's do the rating here on this one coming up, the previous one. So if you guys watch this, the review of this one, let me know what you think in the chat for the rating of this one that I just reviewed, and I'll let you know what I think as well in just a few seconds. Yeah, so again, it has some issues. This is probably the best area. I'm not too happy about the logo here being smashed up against these icons either. I think that could be improved. But yep, a 7.444. You know what? I think I'm gonna agree that 4 is probably a pretty solid rating for this one. So definitely room for improvement. Keep at it. All right, let's continue on. Moise. All right. Let's check this one out. It's loading really slow. I can see it's a .ph domain. I'm not sure what's happening here. Oh, well, that's a very cool animation that we have here. I think that was SVG, possibly. Let's refresh again. Very cool. Awesome. It's probably done with something like, what's it called? The Adobe After Effects, the Lottie SVG sort of animations. Oh, so that happens every time you scroll up. I'm not sure I would do that every time up here. One thing you should improve is this right here. The menu items are too close together. You want to space those out further, and I would increase the contrast to 100%, make it white. All right. Coming down here. All right. Cool, you know, sort of SVG animations everywhere taking place. I'm not too thrilled about this part. I would, you know, with this blue, I would probably just make these white, the backgrounds. Let's see if I can do that real quick. Because I think they just get a little bit lost. There's not enough contrast there. So where's the, there we go. In my opinion, I think that's a little bit better than that. Yeah, I would just go light with that. And then make your call to action this color by default. But yeah, other than that, pretty solid. So what do you guys think that this person should get for a rating for their UI design, especially this part? That's very cool. I would probably make that kind of come in a little bit faster. I may even just get rid of this initial part because it takes a little time and just start off right with that animation right there, right when it loads. All right, so we got a 5 or 7.5, 7.75, 7.7, 7.6. Awesome. I'm going to say a 7 as well. I agree with that. All right. Let's continue on. All right. He wrote this is a forum regular, or a Discord, not a forum. All right, so this is just a typical forum design here. I wonder if this is based on like a certain bulletin or forum software, like vBulletin or PHP BB or something like that. Oh, nice. I see it's man, I haven't really seen forums in a long time because Facebook and sites like Reddit and stuff kind of took them over, although they're still used. But that's cool. This is pretty a basic design. I don't see anything that's like 100% incorrect about this, but it works. I'm not sure about having these big, large blue bars everywhere. I would probably leave this part blue as it is and then make this like a secondary color because it seems very blocky. So that's the main thing I would take a look at. Yeah, again, this part, same thing with here. They shouldn't be two blue bars right there next to each other. But this seems pretty good here. Again, just I would change this area right there as well. Let's see. Oh, I don't have my my toolbars. I wanted to check the contrast of this because it looks like it's borderline. Not enough contrast on the type, but I said it could be fine though. All right, assuming this person designed their forums by themselves and this isn't just some template, what do you guys think the rating should be for this person's forum-based UI design? Did I say discourse? I meant Discord. 3, 8, 4, 6, 6, 6, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6. Yeah, I'm gonna say a 6 as well. You know, I think I'm gonna start doing something slightly different with these ratings. I'm not going to look at I'm not going to actually look at your ratings first. I'm going to not look at the YouTube chat, and I'm going to give my own and then see if other people, mostly for the most part, agreed. We'll do that for the next one. All right. Let's go keep on going on here. VA. Oh, it's discourse. Okay, it's a popular forum now. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been in the forum game. I used to work with vBulletin a lot, and theming vBulletin skins was such a pain in the butt. Oh, it was horrendous. It was a horrendous experience. Their CMS, like it was like everything was like in a million different areas. It was just a nightmare. All right. Let's see here. My Steam revamp proposal. So this is based on Figma, and this is a Behance gallery that we have here. All right. Yeah, this is actually looks pretty good. For the UI design itself for Steam, I use Steam as well. My daughter's like watching me play first-person shooter games like Far Cry, and I forget what exactly it looks like, but this looks pretty solid. Unfortunately, it's just a large JPEG. Here's one thing though, for your presentation on Behance, this part, that's a no-go right there. It's hard to read this with this background like this, so you generally don't want to stick important type-based elements on top of high contrasting areas like this. I saw, you do have this container around it, but there's not enough opacity there. What I would do is make this darker, this container, so that you can more easily read this. And we're going right here because there's just too many elements. Outside of that, looking at this, the best part seems to be the UI design itself, these two things, as opposed to this stuff right here where you're kind of describing the layout. I would work on this stuff more so. I guess we'll do a rating here. We'll say a rating for this design, or this design rather. What do you think this person should get for their rating of this Steam revamp right here? 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. I'm not looking at your answers, by the way. I'm going to, what do I think? Yeah, I think this is a solid, oh, there it goes, 7. All right, seems like you guys pretty much agree with me. We got a lot of 7s. What do you mean stop cheating? What are you talking about? No, I didn't look, yeah. Let's see here. Let's see. We got, let's see here. Sir, I created this site. Can you review the color scheme? All right, so let's check it out. Let's get this over here. Let's refresh because we have some animations coming in. All right. Well, we'll get to this the color scheme, but let me scroll down and see what else is happening here. Scroll-based activation, or scroll activated animations. All right, so here's the thing. I would say this is kind of, I hate using this word, but it's just the brackets, the code brackets here are just kind of wonky. They're kind of just like tilted to the side. It seems cartoonish in my opinion. And then this right here, the silhouette of a person, it looks very jagged and pixely and rastered on the side. I would definitely change that up, at least to make it more, less jaggy like that. And also this arrow right here, which is supposed to be like a / in code. I get it, but it's too large. First of all, everything's too large right here and really cluttered. There's not enough white space between these elements, as well as up here. You need to space things out, especially on a large desktop resolution like we're currently viewing this at. So I would probably just scrap this whole concept, come up with something more clean, visit landing page UI design galleries, go to Google, type them in, and just come up with ideas design-wise in terms of how you can get a much better hero section here. As far as the color scheme itself, these two colors right here, they work. Black versus this sort of reddish, orangish color right here. But down here, and again, we can see these jagged sides of this. Like I wonder what that is. I mean, is that even? Well, it's obviously not SVG. Is it? You know, on my monitor, I'm on a 19. This is a 4K monitor on a 2K resolution for streaming. Sometimes it makes things look extra jagged. It still looks a little bit jagged to me on my other 4K monitor. But either way, here's the thing though. I don't like this this part right here. That is a gradient. That doesn't work. And plus, we can also see the issue right here where there's like a line separating these. I also am not a fan at all of the type. It looks just too cartoonish and childish for something that's based on coding. So I would definitely change that up. We have an issue with the type alignment between right here. This starts on this column, but this one's indented here. You have an unnecessary line. I would get rid of that divider right here completely. So yeah, there's a lot of ways that you can definitely improve this. I would Google card design and try to get some ideas in terms of more solid card design. Small things like this, the white space up here is like only half or even more so than the white space right here. And so it just throws off the flow of the design, doesn't look good. So definitely think about that. By the way, I'm going to be releasing probably at least a 7-hour UI design course. It's going to be it's going to be on like Udemy. But I'm going to cover all this stuff, and we're going to have a ton of projects. So I can't wait to be able to actually advertise that. What do you guys think this person should get for their rating? 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. I'm not going to look at, the thingies. I'm looking down. I'm going to grab this bar. I know I think I'm pretty certain what I'm going to rate this one. Yeah, I'm going to say, let's see here. I'm going to say oh, not a 7. Jesus Christ, I hate when that happens. No, I meant a 3.5. Yeah, a 3.5. Sometimes the the shortcuts get messed up. Oh, I'm not trying to troll people. There we go. I fixed my shortcut. So what did you guys see? 3. There we go. I fixed it. I had to fix the shortcut. Wow. Okay. I guess I thought worse than a lot of you. Okay. I'm just looking at your scores right here. A lot of people said 4. Okay. I guess I was a little bit more harsh, right? Or critical. All right. Let's check out the next one. This is my website, Lion Guest Studios. Let's check it out. All right. Let's refresh. There was some initial animation that came in. All right, first off the bat, I don't know what that is. For the letter mark or the icon, I'm trying to imagine what this is. It's yeah, just ignoring the shapes. The shapes are too close together. There's not enough white space between this bracket right here and this part. So I would rework this concept definitely. Looking at okay, so you have a serif font here for the type, for the navigation, and then you have this sort of interesting sans serif font. And again, this type really feels just not serious. And well, let's read about what this even is. Web and mobile. Okay. Trying to get a more solid idea about what the purpose of this site is. Feed your mind with great content. So it seems like it's maybe a content site based on web and mobile and open source. Yeah, I would definitely change this this type to something else, to give it a little bit more of a serious feel. This image itself, this works. Drop shadow here, definitely no. I would get rid of that. Probably the color too. That red clashes with the background. You can kind of see it's just kind of a little bit hard on the eyes the way it clashes. So I would definitely change that. I'm not sure to what color, maybe white, and then making the text this color. But notice you're using two different colors here, but they're very similar. This is like an orange, but this is a complete full-on red. So I would change that. Plus, using this bright red like that, that's usually, you know, it's like a warning signs, but so you don't really want to use a call to action like that that's completely red, just because of the psychology behind the color red. Coming down here, this part, design-wise, layout-wise, is pretty solid. I don't see any massive issues with the way it's going. Again, the red sign up, that clashes with the background. Even this works a lot better than that. Again, no, I'm probably not too much of a fan of this part, this type, just being this combination between this font and this right here. Generally speaking, you really can't go wrong with sans serif of sorts. Coming down here, a little bit too much going on. Hard to read some of these icons with this bright, purple pink background color. What I would do is just convert all of these to white. Just make them white, and then the elements right here either black or whatever. That way they all consistently can be seen in the same uniform fashion. Down here, the privacy policy, it sits on top of this edge, so it creates some clash. So I probably just decrease the opacity big time on this element, and it'll bring out these foreground elements a lot more because it's pretty cluttered down here. All right, so what do you guys think this person should get a rating? I'm going to move this over and not look at what you guys think. So there's some things happening right. The best area is probably right here in this section. But yeah, there's just a few things, especially look at this. This is pushed all the way over here, but then this column begins right here. This logo should be right here at all times in lining with this section. I'm going to say, yeah, I think this is probably a solid, I'm going to say like a 5.5 for this. Let's see what you guys said in the description, or in the YouTube chat rather. So people said 6, 4, 4, 5, 7, definitely 7, 3, 5, 7, 5, 5, 4, 5, 5, 5, yeah. All right. Okay. Let's continue on. Who else is next? Can you please review my portfolio website? I'm looking to completely redesign it and would like to hear your thoughts on what things I could change. All right, let's do this. All right, so I can definitely help you. All right, let's come down here, just see what's happening. Okay. All right, so first, this right here, this is kind of hard to read. It's going kind of quick between each of them, but it's hard to read also because this background image has a lot of contrast. So we need to decrease that contrast by lowering the opacity here in CSS based on this background image. Depending on if it's black, let me see here. Let's see, here's the background image. Well, I'm not gonna worry about changing it, but you need to really decrease this contrast here, like I said, the opacity, because it's hard to read. Also, the worst thing about this, or the biggest issue, is this menu right here. So it's just this little side menu that's kind of hidden over here, and you already don't have a call to action here, like view the portfolio. You should have like a big button or something outside of just this scroll thing right here, this scroll indicator. But this definitely needs reworked. I would completely scrap the way you're dealing with this. Just the color, it seems kind of like drab, being just like this gray. And there's not a lot of white space in this container in itself, so it kind of just feels weird and just thrown over there. I would make a bar at the top that would serve, you know, as the like a nav bar at the top here. And then one big issue is when you scroll down, it's just kind of hidden over here. You can't even see it. It's real close to this type, so it's a big issue. I would just stick to the conventional pattern up here. People are familiar with it, and they won't get annoyed with what you're doing over here. The rest of the site, looking at this, yeah, this seems like to be like a, what's this here? Translations. Okay, so this is kind of just like a portfolio example, and the way it's aligned could definitely be improved. This seems to be centered up here at this top, and then the next row down, you have this section over here in an iframe, it looks like, and this right here. So this type starts here on this column, but this doesn't even align with that well because this starts right here, or ends right here rather, and then this part starts right here, and then over here, this is all pushed over to the right. You have a lot of weird alignment things occurring here. So you need to go back to basics, Google card design, go to Google and just type in card design, layouts or whatever, and try to rethink about how you want to do this. I can tell you right now, if you just got rid of this top bar, made this, you know, push this up here in its own column, and then put the title right above this section in the same alignment, and then this right here, the visit website down here, so that they all start on the same column, it's going to look 1,000 times better. I like this color combination here with this yellowish. It's not too bright. Good contrast. I like the fact that you bold this part. This works well. This part right here where it comes out, this container into here, that works well. But this contrast right here is not enough. So you're going to want to increase that to at least a minimally acceptable value. Where is my... I just got a new computer, so that's why I don't have my what do you call my extensions? What's that extension called? Oh, it's contrast with a K. Contrast extension. I'm going to install that. I suggest everybody install this as well. All right, so now it's added. So now if I go over here to contrast, I think I have to refresh. There we go. And I think there's a paid version of this plugin that I already did pay for, but I probably have to like set my account up. Yeah, because this is like the simple version of it, and it's kind of annoying. Foreground is this color right here. So it says fail, as you can see. So the paid version of this will automatically like fix it for you. So you definitely want to increase the contrast here. I'm gonna have to get this all set up though for that. But yeah, otherwise pretty solid. What do you guys think this person should get for a rating? I'm not going to look. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best for their UI design here. I'm going to say, because there are some things that are happening, you know, that are correct. And then just this part is really going to hurt the score, the sidebar. So I'm going to say for this, yeah, I'm going to say a 6. Yeah, a 6. I think that's a solid 6. All right. So what did you guys say? Oh yeah, it seems like you agreed. All right, awesome. Let's continue on. How far are we into this stream so far? 35 minutes. So we're going to be doing this for about 25 more minutes. I usually go for an hour. I'm probably not going to be able to get through all of the reviews submissions. So if you really want me to get to your submission so I can review it, click on the super chat, send a little money, help support my margarita fund for my Friday night girly margaritas, and I will put you at the very front of the line and definitely get to yours. So let's continue on. Who is next? Okay, I am Groot. This is a regular Mr. Groot. So nothing much this time since the beginning of a new project. Watch for 2 pages in logo, home page, another content page. In logo, all right. All right, crat code. I thought it would have been like cart code because this is a cart. So like, or code cart. All right, or whatever. All right, so looking at this, very, very simple, obviously. Let's move this out of the way. And all right, so this again, very simple. I'm not sure I would personally use something like this for an actual logo because the symbolism, the cart is so big in relation to the size of the name, where it says code and semicolon, that when this gets scaled down, that code, the important type-based element, is going to get real hard to read because it's going to be so tiny. Because sometimes logos are shown maybe like on being like 100 by 100 or an 80 by 80 size, and then that will become unreadable. So I personally wouldn't do that. Looking at the rest of this, crack code, I think the visual hierarchy, as it's called, that separates this element from this element is pretty good, but it could be improved. Let's see if I can work on it a little bit real fast. Let's see, font weight 700. You're using pixels. All right, so also based on this font, it's the letter spacing seems a little bit off, so probably change the font as well. This right here, I think that's a little bit better. It separates them a little bit more, and also increase that contrast right around there. Also, the spacing seems a little bit strange. Where is margin bottom is 0.5 rem units. But also changing the letter spacing here would probably help as well. So that's a little bit better than what this is right here, as you can see. Outside of that, there's just not enough content for me to really sit here and adjust anything and really critique for that page at least. Right here, you could probably make this bigger. I would left align it too and not center it, simply because you have this column all strongly defined right here in this area, but then this is over here in the middle for some reason, so I would just left align this so that these line up a little bit better. If you don't increase the size of this, you could probably push this up more, like right around here, this container. So we get to the main content. The main content doesn't have to start in the halfway point of the page. It could be up higher. You don't need this that big either anyway. So yeah, just push everything up. I like the actual design here with the type, and this sidebar looks pretty good as well. So yeah, that's all solid right here. Yeah, just a few things. What do you guys think this person should get for, Mr. Groot should get for the design, the UI design? It's kind of like two different projects almost, just because the subpage, or this page rather, hardly has anything going for it. But go ahead and rate 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, and I will let you know what I think. I'm going to say I think 6.5, I think. I mean, based on this page, for sure. But the home page, again, you know, there's just not enough there. Of course, they did say it's a new project, work in progress. Yeah. Somebody said it too. I mean, when I say a 6.5, that's based on absolute design fundamentals based on what's currently there. I know this page looks like there's hardly any content, but that's not really a metric that I judge upon. I judge upon a few design fundamental criteria, such as contrast. Contrast is pretty good here. White space is really good here. Almost all of the fundamentals are there, and just a few things that are off, like the logo needs reworked. But other than that, in terms of just alignment issues, like for instance, this page is actually pretty solid design-wise. So it's definitely not a 2. All right, let's continue on. All right. Hi, Gary. This is my first portfolio website. I don't know if this is nearly good or maybe bad. I create this using no framework at all, just plain CSS and then HTML to simplify and keep loading fast as possible. Okay, let's continue on. All right. See if there's any animation. No animations. Hey there. I'm Nafal, front-end developer. Okay, so about me. All right. This is pretty solid right here. Probably could maybe use a little bit of color. It seems so quite monochrome, but it's not bad at all. No, I mean it's actually real solid. These large containers right here, I'm not too sure about this. Usually you want to get give a person somewhere to click. So I would I would have a like again a call to action, a button leading them somewhere. I'm not sure in terms of prioritizing your content that about me should be the top thing. When somebody, a potential employer or a client visits a site, they want to know what you can do or see your work. They really don't care about your life story. They do, but it's not on their top list. They want to see what you can do. So I would definitely put this first, as opposed to the about me. That would just it would help you out a lot more in getting actual clients, or having the portfolio first, and this second, and then the about me third. But in terms of design, I don't see anything that's really wrong here. I'm again with this big soft shadow. I'm not too sure about that you have here on this this container. It's kind of a strange color to go from a gradient here going black to this. I might want to change that as well. Might be best if you just open this whole container up, make it go 100% to the right and left, and just treat it like, you know, a full container rather than just like this big old block. Either way, pretty solid. So let me know what you guys think for a rating for this one. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Also, the picture, yeah, that could definitely be improved. It looks like a picture of you where you were like just startled or something. Well, what do I think? I think this, for what it is, yeah, I'm going to say I'll say that's a 6, yeah. Just because when it comes to the actual design fundamentals, they're not killing it. They're not, you know, because I've seen so much worse. I just think it probably lacks a little bit of character, but in prioritizing content. But yeah, what did you guys say? A lot of 7s, 5s, 7s, 8s, 7s. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and continue on. 15 more minutes we'll be doing this. If you want me to get to your review submissions, then go ahead and give me a damn super chat already. Damn, I haven't got one. All right. Next one is Bigfoot. This is for a client. All right. Let's come over here. Let's refresh. Okay. So, very nice animation here. And hopefully you design this yourself. But there's one issue. It is way too large in relation to the size of the very important stuff right here, which is the headline, subheadline, a little description that you have down here. This is kind of an afterthought. People generally, it's nice to have an illustration, but it's too big. So definitely take this whole white section, push it, make it start over here, and scale down the size of this so it's over here, and then you have more emphasis placed on the important stuff. All right. So outside of that, let's keep on scrolling down. I'm not sure if I would even show why choose us. I'd probably get rid of that and then push this column and this graphic up to where why choose us currently it's starting. That would be much better. This, though, in and of itself, these are all pretty solid. Maybe scale this down. It's a little bit large, but this is all real solid, just in terms of type and layout. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of these. I forget, what is that called? Is that the Humans Project, where you get these kind of a million illustrations? I'm just seeing them all over the place. They're really become a thing. But in terms of your type, this is all good right here. I'm not sure about putting a border on that. Borders are a thing of the past, in my opinion, for the most part. So I would probably get rid of the border right there on that button. This being kind of off kilter like that by default, it's kind of strange. I'm not sure if I would do that either. But still, nonetheless, this is pretty good. All right. I would get rid of this, the border here. I hate borders. I would just get rid of that border, just show this. That'd be better. But yeah, cool, sort of graphic design dots and elements that you have here. A little bit too much white space up here and not enough at the bottom. So I would kind of center all this stuff in the available space here vertically. This right here looks pretty good. I would get rid of best plans. That's just not even worth putting there. Yeah, this looks pretty good right here though. If you're emphasizing one like the middle, make this by default without that stroke. And then this kind of ends, oh no, there it goes. I thought it was the bottom of the page. Again, our base, get rid of that. A little bit strong on this shadow right here. I would probably completely take that down a notch. But yeah, there's too much content for me to keep on reviewing here though. Other people are waiting. So overall, pretty solid though. What do you guys think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. I'm going to say, I need water. I'm going to say a 7. So let's see if anybody agrees with me. I generally don't like, I'll view the responsive real quick, but I don't really want to sit here critiquing it just because there's not enough time. All right, so a lot of people, I guess I was a little bit harsh Although some people agreed. All right, thanks for the submission. Let's continue on. We have about 10 minutes left. So again, if you want to send a super chat, do so. Mention your Discord username, and I will get to yours for sure. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to get to everybody's. Who is next? I'm funny. Usually people who say they're funny aren't that funny. I mean, I just had to point that out. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Maybe that's not what you meant by I don't know. All right. Let's continue this on. Let's refresh just to see this. We have a loading animation here. A front-end developer and UI UX designer who's comfortable with the server side. All right, kind of a monochromatic approach. I like it. Interesting sort of a texture-based font right here. All right, so we definitely have an issue here, which I'll get to in a second. Okay, so the issue here is it's hard to follow along. When it comes to your type, you're not reinforcing that visual hierarchy that I always talk about. And that's because your titles right here it is bigger. You have a larger font size, but still you have the same exact color here, so there's no difference in color. And the font size still is, and it's also pretty close together, all this, and that makes it kind of hard to read. I mean, it's purely type-based, and I'm a fan of being minimalist, but you need to reinforce and make it easier. You reinforce the fact that these are just answers to this title or subtitle more so. One way that would definitely help you, and plus on the large, well, I'll get to that in a second. I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh, we got a table design here. Okay, so like, let's see here. So making all those gray would help separate these out more. Plus, I think you have the space here. Why not use multiple columns? That's what I would do for desktop. That way it doesn't feel so cluttered right here, because it's kind of hard to follow along. So I would change that up. And by the way, you don't have to change these to gray. Keep them black and make these like, I know you're trying to go the monochromatic approach, but you can give these colors and that would separate them better. So yeah, I would just apply more layout and separate these a little bit more. And then again, it still continues on down here. It's just like there's no really separation. You're not sure where, you know, it just makes it harder to follow along and read. So I would just give it more structure. I think that's what's needed. You have your contrast is very good. Your white space needs work, especially up here. In some areas, it's not bad though. But yeah, what do you guys think this person should get as a rating for their UI design? This part's pretty solid. It's probably the best part of the design. I'm gonna move this over so I don't see your answers. But yeah, coming down here, it begins to fall apart, unfortunately. Judging this as a whole, I'm gonna have to say, I'm gonna give this a I'm gonna give this a 6, because this helps boost the score. This kind of takes it away, so I think it all averages out to around 6. Okay. I think a lot of people, yeah, we had some good ranges there, 4 all the way to 8. All right, let's continue on. I may have time for a couple more. Is there anything? You can make a post on the right without an account. Hover and click over the posts on the left. Okay. All right, so this seems like kind of like just a social site, perhaps. Postmodernly digital cut-ups. All right. I'm not sure what this is. It's like a blank area that I can't click in. What do you say to do? Said to me on the right without a hover and click over the posts to the left. Not sure what this is. Superior and observer. What is this site? I don't even understand what's happening here. Oh shit. I'm an idiot. Sorry. I do that sometimes. There's this key I have to manually press to get it back to my feed. So let's do that over again. Don't worry, I'll make up for this. I'll definitely make sure that I add maybe 2 minutes. Okay, this is the site that we're looking at. All right, so I'm not even sure what this is. What is this? It looks like people can post things, but you hover over certain areas, and it's showing like from quotes. What is this? No clue. This is kind of cool in terms of the UI and stuff. Oh, digital cut up. So I guess it's basically taking random area or, you know, short sentences or portions of sentences and then combining them with other things that other people said. That's interesting. Well, in terms of, I'm reading the comments right here. One thing I'm not sure about, you know, how you do this. Oh, so that's what you do. Okay, so you come over here and you click this. That's interesting. Was gliding from him like a cloud, like water on the other, the confession of faults made aloud, and it, what? But it has been asked. I don't know what's happening. But let's just focus on the design in and of itself. These borders that are used here, while I'm not a fan of borders, it's not bad. The way the borders are constructed. Normally I'd be a fan of like getting rid of the borders and then just making these maybe slightly separate white panels. But still, this still works. It is kind of bordery in a sense. Other than that, it's not too bad. Digital cut-ups kind of just seems randomly placed right there. You might want to move it closer, and it's slightly indented from where P starts. Home, about, sign up, log in, very simple. The UI is simple. So it's not too bad. This is definitely interesting. What do you guys think this person should get a rating for their design? 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. Oh my God. I'm going to say, for what it is, I'm going to give this a 6.7, I would say. Yeah, I think that's a good rating for that. What did you guys say? 8, 6, 8, 5, 6, 8, 6. Yeah. What does 6 in drink mean? Why do you keep saying that? All right, we got a super chat we have to get to. Thank you very much, Mr. Solomon. NVIDIA hot dog wanted you to get 1 super chat at least. Wait, not sure if that means that you are. Is that a review request? Based on the username NVIDIA. Yeah, okay. This page is very much a work in progress, but I came up with the general design halfway and most of the elements and not completed or broken. And then the client messed up a bit of my CSS, ignored the logo on the nav bar. The client really wanted that. All right. All right, this is going to be our last rating or review here. So yeah, the logo, that's horrendous. Unfortunately, if a client wants something and they're sticking to it, they're the ones paying you, and you know, all you can do is just educate them as best you can. And then even that sometimes won't work. That's why I'm so glad I'm out of client work. I've dealt with about 2,000 logo design clients in my life. All right, so looking at this, all right, so this big tree, people were just coming here and say, what is this site? I have no clue what I'm looking at. I own a tree, and it says there's a tree here. If there's some important, you know, you can push this to the right and get yourself a solid headline or something that, you know, people, there's always been an old adage, even since the early 2000s, if a person doesn't know what they're looking at or what the purpose of a site is within the first two or 3 seconds, they drop off, they leave. Your bounce ratio just is horrendous. So I would definitely add some white type right here if you're going to keep this sort of lavender background. Looking at the rest of this, the layout is kind of strange here because you have this element here. On a large desktop like this, and you have like a container and you have text, you don't want the text spanning the entire browser almost, because it's hard to read. Your head has to go from left to right big time. So I would put things in a centered container based on like a percentage of some sort, so that people don't have to do that. You know, they don't have to move their head the whole way. And also just kind of screws up the layout as well. Also, we have some padding here and here. When in this next section, there's no padding at all. So that's kind of creating an issue with consistency in terms of the layout and how you're presenting it. You always want to have the same amount of white space on the right and left. Looking at these cards, the cards themselves aren't too bad, but the layout of this whole section, you know, again, this right here, this is all left, and then this stuff is centered. So there's no strong sense of alignment and layout here. But the cards themselves are designed pretty well. This probably would not pass the contrast test as well. There's a green, looks like a green shadow or blur coming out, or glow rather, coming from this button. Definitely I would change that. Next up, there's no white space barely between this section and this section. Everything's real close to together. So you need to push things down and give them room to breathe, much more so. I always see this sometimes. Well, that doesn't even make sense. I always see this sometimes. I see this a lot when you have two columns, usually like an image or a photo or something, and then we have text-based content in the next column that is centered. It never looks good. Left align both of these on this section. This Get Started button, especially when you hover over it, can barely even see it. You don't want that at all. By default, it's still, you want that to stand out more. Use this button design without that glow instead. So yeah, this whole section, it's just a big empty space below this. Like you can take this whole container, push it way up with this amount of white space down here. Right here, interested, get a notification when we plan our next event. There's nothing separating the type here between these elements. So it looks like they're all part of an H2. So I can't even, yeah, with BRs. Now you want to use like an H2 on this element and then a paragraph element on this and separate them visually. This should be much larger and bold, and this is a little bit smaller. All right, so there's a lot of things that you can do to improve this. I would suggest going to Google and typing in landing page. Here, I'll do it. Landing page inspiration. And there's a bunch of, this looks like a new one. Landingfolio.com. This is a good one. You just try to, gain practice by even just recreating these from scratch, just as a means of practicing. I've done videos on how that's helpful. And then when it comes to doing your own or your client's designs, you're not going to copy, but you're still going to have that muscle memory. And eventually you'll develop your own style. I think that would be very helpful for you and others. All right, thanks a lot for the super chat. At least I didn't walk away with nothing. All right, we'll do a rating on that, our last rating. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, what do you think this person should get a rating for? And I'm going to hide that. I already know what I'm going to choose. I'm going to say a 3. Yeah, you could definitely improve this big time. So hopefully I gave you enough information on how you can do that. All right. All right, 3, 2, 5, 4, 5, 3, 4. Yep, seems like we're pretty much agreeing. All right, so for those of you who did not, oh, yeah, that's unfortunate. So for those of you who did not get a review or whatever, I'll probably be doing these once every 2 or 3 weeks. So just stop back. Yeah. So I will see you guys next time. All right. Have fun. Have a good weekend and all that good stuff.